You ever watch your kid offer his last cookie to a stranger right in the middle of a snowstorm and realize maybe he's the only one in the world still getting it right? It was one of those bone-deep cold nights. I was walking Eli home from school, same as always. I was tired. My janitor uniform still smelled like bleach and busted radiator steam keys clinking at my hip like they were keeping time with my regrets. We were just about to reach the corner bus stop when I heard him. "You can have it," Eli said, holding up a cookie with his mittened hand. "It's a dinosaur. Dinosaurs make you strong." I turned, and there she was, sitting on the bench, wrapped in a coat that had clearly lost the war against winter. Her cheeks were raw, her lips cracked. She looked erased. Not broken, just like someone the world had scribbled out and forgotten to finish the job. "Eli." I barked a warning sharp enough to cut through the wind. "Get back here." But my boy didn't flinch. Just held out that cookie like it was a peace treaty between her pain and his heart. She looked up dazed and whispered, "I didn't ask for anything." I crouched beside her because something in her eyes told me she wasn't okay. Skin burning under frozen air. Fever. Starving. No one in sight. Not a car, not a soul. Just her, my boy, and me. "Miss," I said, touching her wrist gently. "Can you hear me?" She tried to stand and collapsed straight into the snow. I didn't think. I just scooped her up. She weighed next to nothing. Like life had stripped her down to her last ounce of fight. Eli walked beside me, whispering. She gave her food to a cat first. "Dad, she's good." When we got home, I laid her on our couch, put a wool blanket over her, lit the fire. I didn't even know her name, just knew someone needed saving. And I'm a janitor, fixing things is the one thing I still know how to do. She stirred eventually. Her eyes landed on Eli's drawing. 3 stick figures, me, him, and a blonde-haired woman. Above it in shaky letters he'd written "My home." She tried to sit up, but I stopped her. "You passed out," I said, my tone flat. "You'll leave when you're better." She nodded, grateful but cautious, like someone used to being discarded, like she didn't trust warmth unless it came with conditions. That night I found her curled up on the couch, burning with fever. I called a doctor. Didn't ask her permission. Just did what had to be done. No insurance. No family, the doctor asked, packing up his bag. She whispered, "No one needs to know if I'm alive or not." That sentence, it stuck. Heavy as a locked door. Next morning over soup, I noticed the scar running jagged across her wrist. And I didn't ask. I just logged it into memory like janitors do. Then came the news. Her face. Her name. Right there on the TV in the school's basement lounge. Isabel Hale, former CEO. Embezzlement. Fraud. The headlines made her sound like a monster in designer heels. So that night I asked her straight, "Should I call you Miss Hale? Or just the stranger who collapsed in my arms?" She froze. "You saw it. Whole city has." She didn't dodge. Just said I didn't steal a cent. But I was easier to blame than the man actually writing the checks. And yeah, I wanted to believe her. But I've mopped up enough boardroom floors to know every empire runs on secrets. Still, when she moved to leave to spare us the trouble, I saw something I hadn't seen in years. Eli crying, clinging to her like she was his favorite bedtime story. And Isabel, dropping to her knees, cleaning his scraped elbow with trembling hands and saying, "Brave knights wear their scars with honor." That night I sat at the table staring at the key my late wife Mara gave me on her deathbed. "For when you're ready to believe in light again," she'd said. I'd carried it for years, never turned it. But something shifted. And when I finally opened that hidden panel in the boiler room there, it was a folder. Her handwriting. A flash drive. Records. Proof that Isabel had been framed. Mara had seen it coming, she just didn't live long enough to stop it. So I stood beside Isabel the next morning, and together we made a plan. Not revenge, just truth. Clean, steady truth. But you know how power works. You hold up a flashlight in a dark room and someone always tries to smash the bulb. Cops came with a warrant. Reporters on the lawn. Someone fed the fire with a lie, said Isabel was planning to flee. We handed off the folder to Eli, told him to run it to Ruth at the community kitchen. That a secret mission, he asked. The important kind, I said. The boy ran like a soldier. And when the cops stepped in, all they found was a woman with nothing left but her name, and a janitor who'd built walls for years, finally ready to knock one down. Isabel tried to leave again, said she was a liability. I told her safe without you isn't safe. But she looked me in the eyes and said, "You still see Mara in every room. I can't live as a shadow." She walked out that night, quiet as snowfall, closed the door like she didn't want to wake my pain. 2 days later, I stood in court, not in a suit, just my uniform, steel-toed boots, calloused hands, and a voice that had stayed quiet too long. I'm just a janitor, I told the judge, but I've seen the evidence, the theft, the lies, and I'm here to drag the truth into this room, kicking and screaming if I have to. And when Mason, her former COO, rose to snarl at me, threatened me, I didn't blink. You can't bury light, I told him. Not when someone's watching. The court ordered a full review. Mason's empire started to shake, and when we walked into that boardroom, Isabel and I, side by side, the sneers didn't matter. We laid the truth on the table. Exposed every ghost vendor, every forged invoice. The same people who'd whispered about her downfall now sat in silence as she reclaimed her voice. When they tried to laugh at me, called me a janitor, like it was an insult, I looked them dead in the eye. Funny thing about floors, I said, you can shine them all day, but if the foundation's rotten, the whole damn building falls. Mason was suspended. The board leaned toward healing, not revenge restoration. And 3 months later at the Lighthouse Initiative Gala, Eli read a poem about home and light and choosing kindness even when the world tells you not to. He ended with, "Maybe, just maybe, we can be a family again." And right there in front of a crowd full of CEOs, donors, strangers with glass hearts and iron wallets, I held out the key. The one Mara gave me. The one that opened the door to everything. "If you choose it," I said to Isabel, "this key means you're home." She took it with shaking hands. And I asked, not in a polished speech, not with a ring or a spotlight, "Will you stay?" Not because you're broken, but because we need you. Her voice cracked as she said yes. So now here we are. A janitor, a fallen CEO, and a boy who gave away his last cookie to save someone's tomorrow. And maybe that's what this world needs more of. Not headlines, not heroes. Just people willing to stand in the cold and share the warm part of themselves. Tell me this. Have you ever judged someone based on their worst day, or believed the headline without asking for the whole story? Drop a comment. I read every single one. Let's talk about what home really means, and who gets to belong there.